all over. He's one of the people from day one that says the Bengals need to get an offensive line to protect their best.
Don't miss the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash, weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Into the end zone goes Chris Olave. K.J. Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2 of the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash. We welcome you back, and we are back up on the video feed. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kidder Show, like and follow along, and of course you can jump in on the conversation in the chat section. It was kind of lonely there, so we're glad that we got the video feed back up and rolling. If you're on Twitter at 1410 Kinner, KINNER, you can follow along there, tune in, tweet the show, interact that way, and of course on YouTube, subscribe and like us on YouTube as well. Search ESPN Dayton to jump along there. Lots more still to get into. We're going to kick off hour number 2 with some NFL talk. The Cleveland Browns have a huge matchup with the Tennessee Titans coming up this Sunday at 1 o'clock kickoff. And, yesterday we talked about the importance of this game for the Cleveland Browns, who are 8-3, second in the AFC North right now. Which, by the way, this sports gambling thing, it's a problem for me. If you bet $5 on the Cleveland Browns right now to win the division, like $5, you win like $180 or something crazy like that. So I bet $5 that the Browns come back and win this division here.
That's a good bet. That's a good bet to do.
$5, it's only $5.
But that's how it starts.
Now I have like 15 other $5 bets. That's the problem. No, but, yesterday we talked about the importance of this matchup for the Cleveland Browns as an organization, who are continuing to try to fight to keep themselves atop, second place in the AFC North, continue to be, right behind the Steelers. It's a long shot, but nonetheless, they're just trying to get in the playoffs. If it's through winning the division, fine. That's unlikely, but getting in the playoffs is very likely if you were the Cleveland Browns. We talked about how many current playoff teams right now, just based on the playoff landscape, how many of those teams could the Cleveland Browns beat? I've said all of them except I would not pick them against the Steelers, who, again, you're going to have that final week of the regular season when they have Pittsburgh. I don't know what Pittsburgh team they're going to be facing. Mm-hmm. Is it a Pittsburgh team that has the 1 seed wrapped up, that has a first-round bye wrapped up, that has the division wrapped up? If it's that Pittsburgh team, I'm picking the Browns over that team. If it's Pittsburgh, who has to win because they want that 1 seed, because they want that first round bye, I am picking Pittsburgh in any kind of playoff scenario, because we've seen when Pittsburgh turns it on, Cleveland, I don't think has enough firepower to wall up with them. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, I'm not picking Cleveland in those. I'm not saying Cleveland is necessarily better than every other team in the AFC. I just don't think that any other team in the AFC has separated themselves enough that you can definitively say that team's better than the Cleveland Browns. That's what I've been saying about this Tennessee Titans team coming up. Sure, I think big picture, Titans, more people would pick the Titans over the Browns than not. They are the 5.5-point favorite coming up on Sunday, but I don't think the gap between the Browns and the Titans is significant enough to say that the Browns have no shot of not just beating the Titans this weekend, but if they run into them come playoff time, I don't think that it's a scenario where, they got the Titans, we're screwed. The Raiders in the playoff picture, who have beat the Browns. The Browns could beat the Raiders in the playoffs. Like, there's a lot of teams in the AFC. The only 2 teams I would not pick the Browns over in a playoff showdown is Kansas City and Pittsburgh, and that's regardless of where the game would be played. So we've spent a lot of time on the importance of what this game tomorrow or on Sunday means against the Titans from an organizational standpoint, but the game means even more to a certain individual, and that certain individual is Baker Mayfield. The one thing when the Cleveland Browns drafted Baker Mayfield, it was to turn the franchise around, to give them a sense of we belong, to give them the sense that we finally found our quarterback, to give them the feeling of finally we're going in the direction we want to go in. The one thing we do know about Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns is that you can win with Baker Mayfield. But what can you win with Baker Mayfield? If you are just content with winning games with Baker Mayfield, you have a cheaper version behind you in Case Keenum. You could win games with Case Keenum. You are rolling with Baker Mayfield because, 1, you drafted him number 1 overall. 2, you feel that he is the guy that has the arm that's going to be able to take you to that next level, to not just get you to the playoffs, but win games in the playoffs and ultimately accomplish what you would think would be your goal of winning a Super Bowl one day. You got to ask yourself, is Baker Mayfield that guy that you could do that with? We don't know. We can't get to that Super Bowl conversation until we know if that the Browns feel that they could win big regular season games to get to the playoffs. And then the next stage is, okay, well, can we win big playoff games with Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield has yet to lead Cleveland to a huge win over an opponent. We've seen Kyler Murray already do that with wins over some significant opponents. They have the Patriots. It is the Patriots. I get it, but the Patriots, the Seahawks. We've seen him stand toe to toe with the best quarterbacks in the league. We have not seen Baker Mayfield do that. In fact, Baker Mayfield's worst performances throughout his career have come against the Baltimores, even though he has beat Baltimore, but that's besides the point. The Baltimores of the world, the Pittsburghs of the world, the Patriots of the world, some of Baker's worst performances and the Browns' worst performances with him at QB have come against those kind of opponents. Well, the feeling out period's over. The rookie year was fun. Broke Peyton Manning's touchdown record. They won 7 games after going 0-16 the year before. There was a sense of hope and excitement moving forward. Second year, a lot of excitement. You got OBJ. You got all these new toys. Nick Chubb was able to establish himself as the top back to close out the rookie campaign. They felt that they were on to something. They were on to a mess because they made a mistake as who they hired as head coach in Freddie Kitchens. So you look at that scenario there, and it's like, okay, you get rid of Freddie Kitchens, you get an adult to come in and be a head coach and Kevin Stefanski, and now this team is 8-3 and they look like they're going in the direction that they wanted to go in all along. But many believe that they're doing that in spite of who their quarterback is. And I want to agree with those people, but at the same time, we've seen quarterbacks who have been so bad that you can't win with them. Baker has proven that you can win with him. Now what Baker has to prove this coming Sunday is, I've proven you can win with me at quarterback. Now I got to prove to you that we could beat playoff teams with me at quarterback. And that's what Cleveland has to do on Sunday. This is a bigger game for Cleveland than it is for Tennessee. Tennessee, they're going to the playoffs. They have enough talent to get there. I don't think people are doubting their ability to make the playoffs. Even at 8-3, people are doubting the Cleveland Browns because they can implode at any point because they don't trust Baker Mayfield. This game on Sunday, I heard Colin Cowherd talk about it on his show earlier today, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. It was one of their main topics, too. Is Baker playing for his future? I don't want to say future. I think he has a long future in the NFL. I think he's going to be in the NFL for a while. Baker Mayfield on Sunday is playing for that extension. Baker Mayfield on Sunday is playing for the confidence of that front office to go up. Because I don't know what the confidence level is in Baker Mayfield of that front office. I think they feel good. They feel okay. They feel that, I'm not ready to exercise that. We're going to just probably pull the franchise tag on him after this year because I don't think we've seen enough to warrant forking over $30 to $40 million to give him that max extension. I'm not saying that if they win Sunday that Baker is guaranteed that extension, but he has to show up. He has to not lose the game. If he shows up and throws for 200 to 250, couple touchdowns, no interceptions, and they win, great. He doesn't have to go and win a shootout. He doesn't have to go and throw for 300 plus yards, but he has to prove that the Browns can beat good teams even with him throwing for only 200 to 250 and a couple touchdowns. He has to prove that they could do that. You could beat the bad teams with him having a very limited impact on the offense. You're not going to beat good teams with a limited impact on the offense. He has to have an impact on the offense. He is playing for his max extension coming up on Sunday. Doesn't mean he's going to get it on Monday. It just means that right now, finally on Sunday, if they beat Tennessee, that's going to be the game that the front office can finally put something in that category of, okay, I think we could possibly start the discussion of paying him moving forward. But if he disappears like he did against Baltimore this year, if he disappeared like he did against Pittsburgh this year, that's going to be a problem. And that is going to be very difficult for the Browns front office to look at him and say, you are our guy moving forward. We're going to give you the 30 to 40 in that range. I don't think he's worth the 40. I don't even think Dak's worth the 40. Dak Prescott's about 35. I think Baker could be in that 30 to 35 range. But he has to come out and perform against the Titans, and the Pittsburgh Steelers will be that next big test after that. But yeah, Baker, he's playing for more than just trying to get the team into the playoffs. He's playing for how he is going to be perceived moving forward as the guy. Because there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks floating around in the offseason. And I'm not convinced that the Cleveland Browns look at him as the guy of the future. I think that they're leaning that way, but I think he needs to make them more comfortable leaning that way. And this is a humongous test for him coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, it's another step. It's another step for Baker, another opportunity for him to prove himself. I think this whole year has been, hey, you have to show us that you're the guy.
Yep.
Or we'll be moving on. Obviously, with the signing of Case Keenum in the offseason, a quarterback that Coach Stefanski is familiar with his days with Minnesota. So you have that quote unquote insurance policy. I never thought this season, unless he was about to be out here doing Peyton Manning type of numbers in his prime, that he was going to get that max extension. I always thought that it was going to be a franchise situation. if they extended him. I never thought that they were going to break the bank open unless he put up crazy numbers. So this is another opportunity for Baker, to do his thing and not miss open guys in the end zone. Like, I don't know, like that's the sticking point for a lot of people, a lot of Browns fans out there. Like, all right, fine, we're a running team. Fine, he's a game manager. We'll accept it now. We're winning games. But you can't be missing wide open guys in the end zone. And I think that's like one of the sticking points that people keep coming back to, where he's overthrowing receivers that are wide open in the end zone. And I agree with him. I would be mad too. But for Baker, the good thing about it is not only does he have an opportunity this week versus Tennessee, has an opportunity on Monday Night Football versus the Ravens, has an opportunity in the last week of the season versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and most likely an opportunity in the playoffs, something the Browns haven't done in a long time. I mean, for better or for worse, he is the starting quarterback of the team that's leading the Cleveland Browns back to the playoffs.
457-9464. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. 457-WING is the number that you can call in. But yes, the Tennessee Titans, the Cleveland Browns, coming up on Sunday at 1 o'clock kickoff. And the question we're throwing out there for you Browns fans is this: is Baker Mayfield playing for not his career, but is he playing for his future with the Cleveland Browns this coming up Sunday? I know it sounds a little dramatic, as if like Baker will be cut on Monday if they lose, but I truly do believe that Baker may not be playing for his future as in he'll be fired on Monday, but let's be clear here. If Baker Mayfield plays horribly on Sunday, okay, if he plays horribly on Sunday, you have to understand that he's not going to be fired on Monday, but that means the front office beginning Monday is already going to start having conversations about a future plan, what they could potentially look at quarterback wise for the Browns moving forward. So I do think Sunday is a bigger game. Sunday is a huge game, not just for the Browns playoff chances in 2020. I think it's a huge game for Baker Mayfield's future. 457-9464. Let's go to John. John, kick us off, man. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Justin, Kev, you guys hit the hammer on the nail. This is the biggest game of Baker Maker's NFL career. This one, I think he's got this one, and I think he's got Baltimore. Yep. We know you can beat the Giants. We know you can beat the Jets. We know you can beat the Jags. Now you got to go beat a good team. You got to win one of these next two, because the Browns probably get that 5 seed with 11 wins.
Yep.
You might get in. You probably get in with 10. But as far as being with the Browns, I agree. Yes, these next 2 games, I don't know if it's just the Tennessee game, because he could bounce back and beat Baltimore, and then the sky opens up again. But if he loses both of these next 2 games, and then gets bounced in the first round, I think definitely the Browns are going to be looking for a new quarterback.
Yeah, and again, like when I talk about Baker's future, I still think he has a long future in the NFL, but it's a matter of fact of whether he's, his future includes being the starter for the Browns moving forward. And you talked about it, John, coming up for the Browns after the Titans. They have the Ravens after that. Say what you want about New York, but they've been playing better football. Daniel Jones' future, as far as health-wise, we don't know, but they're at New York and they're at the Jets. The most Browns thing in the world could be to beat the Titans and Ravens and end up losing one of those games with the Giants or Jets. But no, I'm glad you called in. You basically said everything we did too, which I think is about what a lot of people are thinking about Baker Mayfield. We have a lot of fun talking, debating Baker Mayfield all the time, but regardless, even I know he has to perform this weekend. He cannot have one of those games that he had against the Steelers and Ravens already this season. He has to show the front office and the fans and everyone, hey, I could put us on our back when we need to win big games. Because ultimately, the teams that win Super Bowls, it's because the quarterbacks are able to put them on their shoulders and go win. Nick Foles is a backup quarterback for the Eagles years ago. He was at least capable of putting the team on his shoulders and leading him to not just a playoff win, but a playoff run in a Super Bowl. Baker has to prove that he could put the team on his shoulders when times get tough, and that's going to start on Sunday.
Well, and, another thing here, the Titans don't get after the quarterback as we've seen when they played the Bengals. Yep. So there's not going to be a lot of pressure. He's going to have time. And just announced Dory Jackson is out, so their best cornerback is now out of the game. So this has a Baker Mayfield game written all over it. If he can light this up, then I think he changes the perspective on himself and then looks good towards that front office. But if he goes out here and loses this game big, you're probably right. He might be out of Cleveland next year.
Absolutely. And I don't know about out of Cleveland, but they won't extend him. They'll probably franchise tag him just because he's good enough. As I mentioned, he's good enough to win them games. But what it will lead to is them automatically beginning to kind of look around and take a peek around what the future free agent quarterback market can look like. Teams might be looking to trade on from guys. The Jets, what are they going to do with Sam Darnold if they end up getting Trevor Lawrence? I mean, there's a lot of ifs out there and options that the Browns could potentially look at. Baker needs to make sure that he plays well moving forward so that those options don't become as luring as what they might be looking like right now. So we shall see.
All right. Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call.
Anytime. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Take care. 457-9464. We are back up live on Facebook, by the way. Head to Facebook. Leave your comments in the comments section. We can drag your profile picture, your comment into the show. Mark Ramey on Facebook says the offensive line is horrible. Rainey, not Cleveland's.
Whose offensive line is horrible?
Yeah, whose offensive line do you think is horrible, Rainey? Because it's not Cleveland's. That's the thing about Baker, why he's also been he's had plenty of time in that pocket. The play calling's been great where they've been rolling him out to the left. He's had time there. He's been able to make plays there. The offensive line has not been horrible for Cleveland. I mean, that's one reason why they have one of the best run games in football, because they have a good run blocking offensive line. They have a really good pass blocking offensive line as well. They just don't drop back to pass at such a high level as some of the other top passing teams in the NFL. Dennis on Facebook says he has to play good against the better teams in the league. It starts with the Titans this week, then Baltimore next week, and Pittsburgh at the end of the season. I'm rooting for him to succeed, but there are plenty of head-scratching moments, and I think he's referring to this past weekend. Baker he had these impressive drives. He had these, Cleveland looked like they're rolling, and then he just, they had to kick a field goal because he overthrows Austin Hooper in the end zone, that's 7 points right there that you just threw away into the back of the end zone. You cannot do that. You could do that against Jacksonville. You could do that against the Bengals of the world and the Giants and Jets coming up in the world. You're not going to be able to do that against the Titans and the Steelers and, in the Ravens moving forward. You cannot do that. So, again, he gets away with it against those teams, but he's not going to be able to get away with that against some of the better teams. And just like that first pass against Pittsburgh, Fitzpatrick, whatever I always make Mika Fitzpatrick, whatever, pick six right off the bat. So you can't do that. You cannot do. Those are the mistakes that he has to be able to limit. He limits the mistakes against the bad teams, which is why I don't think he's the worst quarterback in the NFL. I don't even think he's in the top 10 of worst quarterbacks.
Where is he at?
NFL.
Where is he at?
We talked about this during the break. The reason why I purposely have not gone and ranked the quarterbacks yet is because I'm trying to. Is Baker Mayfield a top 10 quarterback in the NFL?
No.
Is he a top 15 quarterback in the NFL?
Yes.
I think he's top 15. I think if I had to guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a game coming up called Baker or Taker. We're going to take Baker. We're going to go down every starting quarterback in the NFL. We're going to decide, are we going to take Baker? Are we going to take her? Are we going to take the other quarterback? Are we going to take, the other quarterbacks in the league? I think I'm going to end up having them around 13 to 14 in that range.
I think I'm going to have them at 15. And one thing we also got to make sure we say is, this is right now. This isn't, oh man, Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. Like, we're talking right now, today. Not what they did in their career.
Not what they did last season either.
Yeah,
this isn't 25 interception Baker either.
This is today. This isn't your long, illustrious career like Drew Brees and Tom Brady and Big Ben and everything. It's absolutely today, this season right here, right now.
All right, 457-9464 is the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. David Shaw says missing the throw in the middle of the end zone last week, that has to be eliminated. I agree. I don't think Baker, no one's defending those throws, but we act like the Aaron Rodgers of the world don't miss bad throws. I watched the Packers last week. He had 3 overthrows, but we don't talk about that. Now, for one, it's Aaron Rodgers. He deserves that, benefit of the doubt. Baker just hasn't earned that benefit of the doubt. But Baker had literally 5 of the best throws I've seen him ever make in his career this past Sunday. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about but again, when those best throws we've ever seen don't lead to 7 points and the overthrows lead to no points, that's the problem. I swear I will smack the smirk off your face. If you do not get it off your face, Kev, I see you smirking. I see you smirking. I see what's going on. It's the Pittsburgh coming out in you. You couldn't even help yourself. I can see you smirking over there.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I can't wait to get to these QB rankings, man.
Let's go. Who else do we got? 457-9464. We got Rob. Rob, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, guys. I think Baker Mayfield, he's going to be as good as Nick Chubb's going to be. You see what I'm saying? If Nick Chubb is going and having a good game, Baker's going to be fine. There's not going to be a whole lot of pressure on him. He's definitely not a franchise quarterback.
You know that? I mean, we know that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it does. I wouldn't think that he'd be worth a franchise tag. I mean, a franchise tag on a quarterback. What's that, about $35 million?
That's what Dak got for the Cowboys. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I really don't think he's worth that.
But for you to say he's not worth that, you have to make sure that there's someone else out there that is worth that. And I don't know how many of the quarterbacks that would be available out there are truly better than Baker that the Browns realistically could go get. So sometimes it's not just about how good you think he is, it's how good he is versus the options, the realistic options you have out there. So just saying, well, we're going to move on from him and go find someone else. You can't move on from him if you don't know who else you're going to go pursue. So that's the one concern I would have. Maybe $35 million is a little steep to pay Baker with the franchise tag, but keep in mind, if you're looking at it as just giving him that money, then yes, that seems high. But you're also paying for the peace of mind of knowing that you at least have a quarterback you could win with in the time being. If you move on from him and go to an aged Case Keenum or someone else like a Cam Newton, who you have no idea who he's going to be on a weekly basis, I think that's more of a risk than it is sticking with Baker Mayfield for another year.
Right, but also, when I'm sure that Cleveland's going to want to do their 5th-year option on him, correct?
Yep.
And I'm sure that he's going to be upset if they're just going to offer him the 5th-year option, and he's going to want a new contract. He has not earned a new contract.
That's fair. I won't argue with that. Yeah, I don't want to say he hasn't earned one, but I don't think he's done enough to earn the max contract, to earn the contract that's going to make him a wealthy man moving forward. I'll give you.
Because there's not that many Aaron Rodgers in football. You could just put some guys in there and he's going to win you football games, no matter who they are. And Baker Mayfield's not that. So if you give him $35 to $40 million a year for 5 years, there's going to be some players that you're not going to be able to re-sign or sign.
All right, Rob, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your take on that. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, 457-9464. That's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. It's funny, David Shaw just can't let go of the Baker overthrow. He says Rodgers doesn't miss that throw. He just doesn't. Do me a favor, because I just did it. Go to YouTube, type in Aaron Rodgers bad throws, and there's like one that's 10 minutes long of just nothing but Aaron Rodgers bad throws. Every quarterback in the NFL makes bad throws. If we're just going to sit there and focus on everything that they do bad, and by the way, if they're winning, again, you could win with Baker. You're winning with Baker Mayfield. If he's missing those throws and they're losing, then it's magnified. But you're winning. It's something they need to address. I'm not just writing it off and saying it's not a big deal. But to sit there and act like that's the only thing he's providing for him is overthrows, it's ridiculous. That's not the case at all. Besides, we've already seen him make a jump from one year to the next in regards just to being able to, be the quarterback of a winning football team and him not be why they're losing. He's not throwing interceptions. He's not losing them ball games. That's one thing that he was doing for the Browns a year ago, and he's not doing that now. So there you go. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We'll play Baker or Taker. Kev's favorite game coming up next.
Oh, boy.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 46. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a low around 30. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a high near 40. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Find out what happens when road rage takes a deadly turn. Rent Unhinged, now available at Redbox, starring Russell Crowe. He's a man whose actions escalate to deadly proportions as he becomes single-mindedly determined to teach a divorced mother a lesson after she impatiently honks at him at a red light. Watch Unhinged along with other new movies and make it a Redbox night. Head to one of the 40,000 Redbox locations, stream on your smart TV, or visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
Napa know-how.
Right now, get a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic motor oil and a platinum filter for just $22.98. They're an iconic duo like salt and pepper, a hammer and a nail, or the holidays and awkward hugs. You can't get one without the other. That's Napa full synthetic and a platinum filter for just $22.98. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales price is not included. Local state local taxes or recycling fees. Offer ends 12/31/20.
Ever wonder just how far an extra mile really goes? Drive a Mercedes-Benz van and find out. Start with a network of over 250 authorized dealerships, backed by a sales force ready to help you with everything from customization to service on vans like the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter that's tailored to your lifestyle, with options like blind spot assist and MBUX voice command for spoken directions, weather, and more.
The route is being calculated.
So whether you're enjoying life on the trail or working hard on the job, see how far an extra mile can really go by taking the first step into an authorized Mercedes-Benz van dealership today. Now with IRS Section 179, businesses can be eligible for up to a $25,900 tax deduction. That's up to $5,439 in tax savings.
Options and model availability may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Some equipment described as optional. $5,439 tax savings based on 21% federal tax rate and eligibility to claim full $25,900 Section 179 vehicle deduction. Your tax rate and eligibility may vary. Consult your tax advisor for more information. Limits may apply. Visit nbdance.com. Offer valid through December 31st, 2020.
Napa know-how.
Nothing causes holiday stress like the words, some assembly required. Well, Napa's here to help with an Evercraft 100-piece screwdriver set for just $19.99. So no matter what Santa and his elves leave for you to put together, you'll be prepared. So save on the Evercraft 100-piece screwdriver set and other great tools from Napa. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating locations while supplies last. Offer ends 12/31/20. Find out what happens when road rage takes a deadly turn. Rent Unhinged, now available at Redbox, starring Russell Crowe. He's a man whose actions escalate to deadly proportions as he becomes single-mindedly determined to teach a divorced mother a lesson after she impatiently honks at him at a red light. Watch Unhinged along with other new movies and make it a Redbox night. Head to one of the 40,000 Redbox locations, stream on your smart TV, or visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
Hey, it's your homie. Sorry, it's your home. I know you don't like it when I call myself your homie. So I have some favors to ask you. Could you get rid of a few chairs in the living room? My floorboards are tired. Another easy thing, we could save money if you bundled your home and car insurance with Geico. One more thing. I know you love lavender scented candles, but could we try Tahitian vanilla? I think it would fit my vibe better.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
When running a business, HR issues can kill you. Wrongful termination suits, minimum wage requirements, labor regulations. I'm Alan Jones, founder and CEO of Bambi. I created Bambi.
In and ask a Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro how you could get up to $700 fast with an early refund advance 0% APR loan by MetaBank. All you need to get started is a pay stub or other proof of income. Learn how at jacksonhewitt.com. Terms apply.
When the weather outside is frightful, the Hyundai Santa Fe is, delightful. Because it's got available H-Track all-wheel drive to make being out together better. Enter for your chance to win the newly redesigned Santa Fe, packed with all the jingle bells and whistles you need to go dashing through the snow together. To enter, visit Amazon.com/Hyundai or scan the QR code on specially marked red and green Amazon boxes. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today with professional counseling done securely online. Visit betterhelp.com/feelhappy and get 15% off your first month.
Listen, stream, and now watch. Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. David Shaw, apparently he's working on his next novel. He just sent a book. You get so damn defensive about a mediocre quarterback. How am I getting defensive? You've seen me when I get defensive. Have I got Have I got defensive today?
Not yet.
It's
early, though.
I don't have the energy.
Once we start talking about Wright State basketball.
I do have the energy to be annoyed with a dumb comment like that, but here's what it is. I have an hour and a half to fight through here. Shaw, settle down. And then here's some great insight. Baker sucks from Tyler Schrody. So welcome in, Schrody. Question for Kev about the Steelers. This Don Roberts is a Steelers fan. He knows you are a Steelers fan.
Hey!
Kev, did you see what Coward said about the Steelers? Do you think he might be a little right about that? We need Pouncey and Connor healthy to have a Super Bowl run. I think Highsmith will do just fine. We need to improve the run offense. Of course, talking about Colin Coward earlier today going on, just saying that, look, they're 11-0. But he's not impressed. They have not done one thing all year that truly impresses him. They don't have that staple moment. They don't have that moment that you can look at and say, that game right there proved that they can win the Super Bowl, which I think is there's really, I don't know if it's parity across the league or if it's just average football across the, I don't know what it is, but Kansas City is the favorite. They're the Golden State Warriors right now in the NFL, but there's really not another team that there's not a second close team to the Chiefs. Everyone else has so many flaws. They have good things about them, but flaws. The Steelers do too, but hey, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're just winning games.
Yeah, the one thing, there's a couple of things about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think the running game is just going to magically appear. I think the running game is what it is, and I don't necessarily believe that it's the James Conner being healthy. It's the Pouncey getting back from COVID and everything like that and being ready. The run game's just not there. It just hasn't been clicking this year. This offensive line has transformed from a running attack with Le'Veon Bell to a short passing game. That's what this offense is. It's quick throws, get it out to the receivers, let them make the big plays, take deep shots down the field with Claypool. My guy that I was screaming was going to have a breakout year, Deontay Johnson. He had one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. Versus the Ravens, he had 2 drop passes, a fumble, Ebron drop passes all over the place. He's on my
fantasy team too.
All over the place. They were dropping passes all over the place. So if they play like that, obviously they can't win a Super Bowl. I believe that the defense is still good enough to win a Super Bowl, but Dupree being gone is a major loss. Not just because he's a great guy on sacks and everything like that, but he holds the edge very well. And when you are an edge rusher that can play both the run and the pass, it prevents teams from doing bootlegs. You and I talked about this in the first matchup versus the Browns. They didn't do bootlegs because the Steelers have 2 edge guys that can do both. They can play that run and they can play that pass if you roll out to their side. And Watt and Bud Dupree. I know Highsmith is going to be in the spot of Bud Dupree, but I just don't know if he's that guy. So you lose already. You're without Devin Bush in the middle with a torn ACL. Now you're without Bud Dupree, torn ACL. So your defense is getting dinged, but that's as Coach would say, it is what it is. This NFL sport is all about who's healthiest and weather in the storm. I still think they can make a run. I really don't think they can beat Kansas City because what we do well on defense is what gets exploited from Tom Brady when we used to play them. When we would blitz him, he throw to the open guy because he's just that good. And best believe Patrick Mahomes is just as good. So when you blitz him, he's going to get the ball out of his hands fast. Our best bet is to win a high-scoring game versus Kansas City if they make it that far.
The interesting thing about the AFC at this point is we know that the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. They're the best team in the AFC. The second best team in the AFC, 11-0. It's easy to say Pittsburgh, but the problem is I think it's a jumbled mess after that.
Yeah.
Every team after that has significant flaws. If you ask me, outside of Kansas City, the number 2 team in the AFC as far as the best overall team, when you contribute to, when you factor in the defense and the offense, Buffalo.
Yeah.
Buffalo is the second best overall team in the AFC outside of Kansas City. Based on right now, Pittsburgh, the reason I'm pushing Pittsburgh back is just because the fact that their defense is taking a hit as of late. The offense, they make plays when they need to, but it hasn't looked as sharp as what you would like it to at this point of the season. It seems like they're having more games than not where they are just winning ugly, which, again, it's all about winning games. It's all about winning games to get you there. But at this point of the season is when you start really separating teams as far as, okay, what do they do well that you can look at and say, oh, they're going to make a run in the playoffs. I don't know if Pittsburgh does enough to make a run in the playoffs, but they're going to have a shot just because they're well coached and they have enough talent. the second best team in the AFC outside of Kansas City, to me, is the Buffalo Bills. They have the best overall team. They have, when you factor in their offense and their defense, they are the most well-rounded team, which is why I have to put them above the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I'd put Pittsburgh third, and then it's just a jumbled mess in there, right there. I mean, between the Titans and the Browns and the Colts and, the Ravens, if they could figure something out there. But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, the Browns are right there at the top two. I don't put them in the top two or top three. But
the thing about it is, this isn't college football where we talk about style points. This is the NFL. NFL in a COVID year. So any win that you get should be respected. And currently the Steelers have 11 wins. Nobody else has 11 wins besides them.
Yep.
So, I mean, I know it's all about winning the Super Bowl and everything like that, because something we all learned was when the New England Patriots were undefeated and they lost to the New York Giants, who were 9-7. It don't matter unless you get the championship. Like Michael Jordan said, it don't mean a thing if you don't get the ring. Like when the Warriors broke the Bulls record, they won 73 games and the Bulls only won 72. Well, guess what? They didn't get the ring. And the only thing that matters is the ring. So Steelers can go 16-0 in the regular season, and I'm hoping they do, but they got to end it with a championship, because that's the only thing that really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of stats don't lie. Take a look, here comes Shaw, the number man. Pittsburgh is number 2. Steelers defense today is better than the Bills. Yes, from a standpoint of, and this is where I always bring this up with college, when you take a look at who teams play, Pittsburgh has not played really good offense. I mean, they've played the Cowboys, they've played the Browns, they've played the Bengals, they've played, even Baltimore, who they just played. Not a good offensive team right now. So I'm not trying to convince people that Pittsburgh is bad defensively, but I think that their numbers are being propped up because they're not playing these offensive juggernauts. And to be fair, I don't think there's a lot of offensive juggernauts in the AFC.
The big offensive juggernaut that they play, Tennessee, they won that game.
That was a while ago, and they've had a lot of ugly. And I'm not trying to. I'm just saying that Titans game is one that they're holding on to, but that was a month and a half ago. That was a long. They've had a lot of ugly games that have made you scratch your head since then, including that Cowboys win, which I nearly lost a good chunk of money on. So I'm glad that they won. But even Baltimore, they won ugly the other night. Now you can argue, well, they're playing on a Wednesday and Wednesday afternoon. It's not. It's been weird. Yeah, but still, it's how they look, and that's what we're basing it on.
Yeah, and also that's what Coach Tomlin said. He don't care that they got 3 games in 12 days. Standard is the standard. Hey, man, get it done.
So, all right, 457-9464. That's the number to call and join in on the conversation. Right there. There we go. We good? There. Yeah. That's Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here again. We appreciate you tuning in and hanging out. We did get the video feedback up. We were getting messages asking about when we could potentially get that back up. We are back on Facebook and YouTube. So search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. You could jump in on the conversation there. I'm not a Steelers hater, by the way. I just think that when you watch them, I think it really is easy to point out and say, okay, there's some flaws. But to be fair to Pittsburgh, outside of Kansas City, every team has flaws. The AFC is, there's a lot of teams that have a lot of really strong components to them, and then there's a lot of weaknesses as well. The AFC playoffs are going to be really interesting. The NFC is bad. The NFC has not lived up to what we thought was going to be a great year. I mean, you look at the fact that, even with the Saints playing well, you still just don't know who they are, because we've seen Drew Brees up and down at times. They playing with the backup quarterback now. Some games they look explosive, other games they don't. The Buccaneers have been a total disappointment as far as what they were expected to be. How about that, Ron? Until further notice, right? That's his rules. But no, the NFC too. When you look at that, I mean, the best NFC team is who, Kev?
Best NFC team is,
I want to say Seattle now, because they went out and got this guy who was pretty good, helping the defensive line. All of a sudden, their pass rush is a lot better. I don't think that's a coincidence.
It's either Seattle or Green Bay.
And Green Bay just had some games where you look at it and say, what are you doing?
Everybody has duds, man.
That's why this is fun.
The problem with Green Bay is their run defense. I don't know if Green Bay has linebackers the way they play run defense, but when you get them on third downs, they get off the field, and then when you got Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, you're good.
Yeah,
come on.
Also on my fantasy team, I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, you look at what Seattle's doing, obviously with Dunlap on there, and now Jamal Adams is back in the lineup. defense looking a lot better. Defense looking like it's supposed to look. And obviously everything Russ does and, DK Metcalf, and now they got Josh Gordon back from suspension again, they're right there in the mix. Everybody's in the mix. And I mean, shoot. And then you look at the Rams. Now they are one of the most up and down teams in the league, man. Like they have good wins and they have bad losses. It's wide open. It's wide open in the NFC. I think pretty much everybody believes that Kansas City is going back to the Super Bowl out of the AFC, but the NFC is wide open.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. 457-9464. Who we have, Kev?
We got Nick.
Nick, what's up, man? Welcome.
Hey, man, I just turned you guys on, so I don't know if this is a question that provoked your Steelers conversation, but do you think that they're the worst 11-0 team ever?
I mean, by the time we get to this point, the team's undefeated. Like, we're pretty locked in and saying, "Oh man, that's the team to beat." But no one's saying Pittsburgh's the team to beat outside of the AFC North. So I don't know if I would have to go back to, I can't recall off the top of my head, 11-0 teams from the past. But I'll give you that this isn't the sexiest undefeated team in early December that I could think of by any means.
They're not dominating. I mean, they're not dominating. I mean, they dominated the Bengals. But, I mean, that's about it,
Cleveland, too. They embarrassed Cleveland, too.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But, also, like you just mentioned about Carlos Dunlap kind of turning it on in Seattle. I mean, I know he's got to see the field to be able to turn it on, right? So, he failed Cincinnati. But do you think there's something to be said for, going to a new team? Like, kind of getting out of an old relationship, getting with a rebound and just kind of cut loose? I mean, do you think he might be doing that some?
Well, to be fair, and I brought this up before, it's not like Carlos Dunlap was like a declining player. If you think back to last year, he had 9 sacks in the final 8 games. It's not like Carlos Dunlap was declining last year and then early this year, and that's why they were playing him less. They were taking one of the best defensive players in football and choosing to play him less. So, of course, his attitude's going to get worse. So I know what you're saying about, okay, a change of scenery. A change of scenery definitely helped him, but that was the team's fault. I mean, the player, everyone's blaming him for his attitude, but the Bengals were dead wrong. You are an embarrassingly bad defense, and you went out of your way to find a scheme to use your best defensive player less, and then you let him go, and he goes and helps a bad defensive team all of a sudden improve to being a very impressive defensive team. That's not a good look. I usually blame the players because I think that you got to make the best of the situation, but I don't blame Carlos Dunlap for this one. I think that he was upset because he knew he had enough left in the tank and that they were purposely not using him when they needed all the help that they could get.
Well, it was hard to watch, but I remember, and it's obviously been weeks ago, but they had, Gino and Dunlap playing just third downs.
Mm-hmm.
So they came in on third down, and it was offsides, so it's 5-yard penalty, first down, they walked right back off the field. You know what I mean? It was absolutely brutal, hard to watch. So,
I'm with you.
You guys have a good weekend.
Hey, you too, Nick. Thank you so much. Appreciate the call. 457-9464. Yeah, that is interesting. All of a sudden he goes, I mean, it's not interesting. It's not surprising. Carlos Dunlap, I mean, everyone's like, man, I can't believe he's going there and making an impact. It's not surprising at all. He was never declining. It's not like, let's use an NBA example here. It's Carmelo Anthony. And I'm using an example here of a guy that truly was regressing. Carmelo Anthony regressed. Carmelo Anthony was no longer a top 10 NBA player. Carmelo Anthony was to the point where he was a shadow, a shell of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he gets to Portland, all of a sudden he has this breakout season. Everyone's like, man, that change of scenery, a team that believes in it. That's a real case scenario of a scenery impact right there.
Yeah.
Cincinnati was not a bad scenery for Carlos Dunlap. He was succeeding there. Carlos Dunlap was one of the best defensive pass rushers in football there. And what I mean by he was, as in a year ago, 8 or 9 sacks in the final 8 games last year. He was still a defensive threat for the Cincinnati Bengals. And then the next year, you change up your defense to find a way to make him a package player. We're only going to use him in certain situations. I'm sorry. How anyone out there continues to defend the Bengals for that it's embarrassing. I don't know the most about football, but I know enough to know that you don't know what you're talking about. If you are trying to convince me that the Bengals were right with that bad defense for trying to find a way to use him less, and then to embarrass yourself even more, he goes on and dominates with Seattle. He's not succeeding in Seattle because they believe in him, or he's not succeeding in Seattle because he just needed to change of scenery. He's succeeding in Seattle because the coach with the brain actually puts him on the field. That's kind of how that works. I mean,
I will say you got to think there's a little something extra in his tank, though. You know, you went from a rebuild situation with the Cincinnati Bengals with a young quarterback in Joey Burrow that we all love, but you go to Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, who have a chance to win a Super Bowl. So you gotta imagine that gives him a little bit of extra, like, man, I got a chance to win the chip, man. I'm gonna give it my everything now. If I wasn't giving it my all with Cincinnati, I'm sure gonna give it now.
Eric Pugh on Facebook says that's nonsense. He never turned out to be the talent he was supposed to be. You are nuts. Eric, are you talking about Carmelo? You talking what part are you chiming in on there? Are you talking about Dunlap? Maybe I shouldn't. I mean, Carmelo was a superstar. I'm not saying Carlos Dunlap is a superstar in the NFL, but when you're talking about a guy that had 80 plus sacks in 11 seasons, he's way above average. He's well above that. I mean, the fact that he's played in the league for 10 years and was still getting sacks at such a high clip last year. Stop trying to find ways to use your best players less. You might win more than 2 games a year for back-to-back seasons. Coming from me, a Browns fan who they won 1 game in 2 years. So there's that.
We're going to rank these quarterbacks
we
or
need
no?
to, don't we? Right? All right, 5 o'clock, top of the hour.
You avoiding
Baker or Taker?
You scared to find out, man.
I'm close to say he's a top 10 quarterback.
Say it then.
I'm close. I have a couple minutes during the commercial.
I want it on tape.
He's going to fall around 12 or 13. That's my guess.
Okay.
I purposely haven't ranked anyone yet. We're just
go
through fresh quarterback by quarterback and figure it out. If he ends up in the 20s, I'm just leaving the show today and you can finish it. Okay. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Right now, the Home Depot is home of smart home gifts for smart home gift givers, like the Google Nest Video Doorbell, the Google Nest Hub, or Google Nest Mini in both charcoal and chalk. Plus, right now, get free shipping on any smart home gift purchases over $45. The top names in smart home have the best name in home improvement. That's smart gift giving. Improved. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only. See store for details.
Money hooray, money hooray, money for the holidays. Oh, what fun it could be with money for the holidays. Need money for the holidays? Jackson Hewitt could help. Starting December 17th, come in and ask a Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro how you could get up to $700 fast with an early refund advance 0% APR loan by Metabank. All you need to get started is a pay stub or other proof of income. Learn how at jacksonhewitt.com. Terms apply.
Home for the holidays, taking on a new meaning this year. Whatever your plans to celebrate, First Florist and Greenhouses can brighten your home with the holiday spirit. For gourmet baskets, holiday decorations, seasonal plants, and fresh cut flowers, your best choice is Dayton's largest family-owned florist and greenhouses. In business at the same location since 1905. First Florist and Greenhouses. In-store shopping at 1306 Troy Street in Dayton, curbside pickup, and convenient online shopping. Visit us at firsttheflorist.com. That's FURST, theflorist.com.
Find out what happens when road rage takes a deadly turn. Rent Unhinged, now available at Redbox, starring Russell Crowe. He's a man whose actions escalate to deadly proportions as he becomes single-mindedly determined to teach a divorced mother a lesson after she impatiently honks at him at a red light. Watch Unhinged along with other new movies and make it a Redbox night. Head to one of the 40,000 Redbox locations, stream on your smart TV, or visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone, where we've got more ways to get what you need fast and take care of that fall tune-up. With our free same-day store pickup, you can order online and pick it up today at your local AutoZone. Or we can bring it to you with our free next-day delivery. Just order on AutoZone.com by 10 p.m. and we'll have it at your front door the next day. Getting your job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities. Or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Available at AutoZone and AutoZone.com.
Remember being in your favorite sport clips, getting set for that great MVP haircut experience? Yeah, how about if we made that wait even shorter? Now, with Sport Clips On Deck text alerts, when you check in online or with our app, we'll text you a 15-minute heads up when it's time to head in. And when you're the next man up, you'll get another text to come take your seat. Less wait time, more prime time. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
Freaking chicken chunks, freaking chicken chunks, freaking chicken chunks, freaking chicken chunks. $29.99 each, 4 pounds of freaking chicken chunks. The four sauces too. The four sauces too. Four sauces too. Four sauces too. Four sauces too. Freaking chicken chunks.
Bring in the season with 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks. Buy a $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. The ho home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is Frickers.
Freaking chicken chunks, 4 sauces too. Freaking chicken chunks, 4 freaking pounds. Chicken chunks.
Keep your car or truck on the road with big savings on automotive products from Menards. Get trailers down the road safely with Tow Smart products. Save now on a great selection of Tow Smart ball mounts, lights, and towing accessories. For cars, trucks, ATVs, and more, you'll save big money on our entire selection of Tow Smart ball mounts and accessories now at Menards. Prices are good through December 13th. Plus, a Menards gift card is always a great gift idea.
All the seasons, 360 you all from Menards.
Staples has great deals on the hottest brands and must-have gifts for working or learning from home. Shop in-store or pick up curbside at most stores and save big at Staples.
The soothing scent of Vicks Vapor Rub. It's only one of the most iconic smells ever. That cooling, comforting scent generations of families have come to trust to help them feel better. And now you trust to soothe your family. Pick up some Vicks Vapor Rub in the little blue jar and wrap yourself with the calm only Vicks Vapor Rub can bring. Vicks Vapor Rub, always there for you.
Napa know-how.
Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free one-day shipping and over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $35 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Right now, the Home Depot is home of smart home gifts for smart home gift givers, like the Google Nest Video Doorbell, the Google Nest Hub, or Google Nest Mini in both charcoal and chalk. Plus, right now, get free shipping on any smart home gift purchases over $45. The top names in smart home have the best name in home improvement. That's smart gift giving. Improved. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only. See store for details.
Money hooray, money hooray, money for the holidays. Oh, what fun it could be with money for the holidays. Need money for the holidays? Jackson Hewitt could help. Starting December 17th, come in and ask a Jackson Hewitt tax pro how you could get up to $700 fast with an early refund advance 0% APR loan by Metabank. All you need to get started is a pay stub or other proof of income. Learn how at jacksonhewitt.com. Terms apply.
Mrs. Claus here. I used to shop online. Now I save money by getting fun and exciting gifts from a locally owned small business that beats Amazon. Where? At the Hobby Shop, near the Dayton Mall. The Hobby Shop has the latest radio-controlled cars and trucks by Arma and the nicest trains by Athearn. Keep your money local and save over the big guys by going to the Hobby Shop. The Hobby Shop, a quarter mile north of Dayton Mall, directly across the street from Lowe's, next to Ollie's. For your safety in these COVID times, the Hobby Shop offers curbside pickup. Call 937-436-6161.
BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today with professional counseling done securely online. Visit betterhelp.com/feelhappy and get 15% off your first month.
Don't miss the only weekly hour of radio dedicated to Dayton Flyers basketball. It's Talking Out Loud, hosted by Sully. Thursday nights at 6 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, and online at wingam.com. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER, and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Into the end zone goes Chris Olave. A.J. Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio, hour number 3. We were discussing, I don't even try to bring up the Bengals. It just naturally gets brought up, and I had moved on from the Bengals, they bore me.
That shows how important Joe Burrow is.
Yeah. Never mind. Yep. Eric Pugh on Facebook earlier said that's nonsense. He never turned out to the talent he was supposed to be. You are nuts. Of course, he's talking about Carlos Dunlap. One of the I don't know how we even got to the Carlos Dunlap. Oh, we're talking about the Seahawks. I said, actually, they have one of the best pass rushers in football now over the last couple of weeks. Their defense has greatly improved since acquiring Carlos Dunlap in that trade. And I said, yeah, how foolish it was of the Bengals to let him go. And then the last caller, he's the one that made the comment. He said, because it's amazing how good players can be when you actually put them on the field. I'm like, yeah, amazing how that actually works. So I was talking about Dunlap, and he said that that's nonsense. He never turned out to be the talent he was supposed to be. You are nuts. And I thought he was talking about Carmelo Anthony because we brought him up. And he said, and Eric says, no, he's talking about Carlos Dunlap. He said he's a mid-tier player. A mid-tier player is being nice about him, and he was never the Bengals' best player. What so much hate for a guy that was actually one of the best defensive players on this roster. It's embarrassing how little Bengals fans know about what a good defensive player is. By the way, he's the team's all-time sack leader, and you're telling me that he wasn't anything significant or anything special? Even if Geno Atkins is a better defensive player, you're still talking about an organization that took its 2 best defensive players in Dunlap and Atkins and found a way to come up with a scheme to only use them on select packages. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I can't wait for the Lakers this year to only play LeBron in certain minutes during certain games and not use him an entire game to win game. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever thought that Carlos Dunlap was going to be Reggie White or Michael Strahan or Bruce Smith. Thought he was going to be a good defensive player in the NFL, and he's proven to be a good defensive player in the NFL. I think he's probably like the second or third best player on that defense back when they were going to the playoffs under Marvin Lewis and everything like that. What's wrong with that?
Team's all-time sack leader. I'll take it. Just to be honest with you. All right, 457-946-4, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. All right, so we're going to hit the music, and we're going to play a little Baker or Taker. We're playing Baker or Taker. We're going to go down the list of NFL quarterbacks. How many quarterbacks in the NFL would you take over Baker Mayfield? Or to reword that, how many quarterbacks would you keep Baker Mayfield over? We're going to start. How are we doing this? Let's start with the AFC East and just work your way down the standing. So we're going to start in the AFC East just for the purposes of guessing here. I believe Baker Mayfield is fringe top 10. I think he's going to fall. I'm going to have him around 12 or 13. Now, to give you a little bit of background, I didn't rank anything before the show. All right, we just want to go through just off the top of my head. Just you throw out quarterbacks' names, and I'll just tell you if I want that quarterback or Baker Mayfield. I'm guessing I'm going to have him around 12 or 13. Where do you think if you were doing this?
I am thinking, in my own personals, he's going to be around like 18, 19.
Hater. All right, let's get started. Baker or Taker? Josh Allen. I have to pick Baker or take Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
Same.
Baker or Tua?
Right now, Baker.
Baker. Agreed. Cam Newton or Baker?
Baker.
Baker. Cam Newton or Sam Darnold?
Baker.
Baker.
So we're 3 for Baker.
We're on the same page.
See, well, I'm realistic. Josh Allen was close. If you had asked me this before the season, I would have taken Baker over Josh Allen. Not gonna lie.
All right, AFC North.
Okay,
the Hall of Famer, Ben Roethlisberger.
Right now, Big Ben.
Agreed. The reigning MVP of the league, Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield?
This one's tough only because Lamar's an MVP, so it's going to sound blasphemous, but I think it's a lot tougher to win with Lamar Jackson than Baker Mayfield. Because with Lamar, you literally change the entire roster to fit his strengths, and when his strengths aren't, taking over games, the team has no shot. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to get heat for this. I'm more comfortable with Baker. If the Ravens released Lamar, I would not be saying, the Browns need to go get Lamar Jackson. I'm going to say Baker. I'm taking Baker.
We disagree there. I'm going to go with Lamar. I just think he's such an explosive player. And when things are clicking for him and they're running a fast-paced offense and you're running that zone read and it's actually working to perfection, it's pretty much unstoppable. We saw that last year. I really think that once the season's over, they'll get back to the basics and get him working better with the passing game, get him some more weapons outside. I really don't think you can have Hollywood Brown be your number one receiver. I don't think necessarily can have a 5'9" receiver as your number one guy. I think they need a big-time, bulky.
I wish Antonio Brown was available, Real quick, by the way, for those who are jumping in on Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show. People are voicing who they would take. When we're talking about the quarterback decisions, put Baker over Cam or Cam over Baker so that I can read your name on the air and give who you would pick. So just put Josh Allen over Baker or Baker over Josh Allen just so I can keep up and give people shout-outs throughout this part. So where are we at right now?
We are on to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, Baker.
Joe Burrow.
He's a bum leg.
I did say right now.
No.
We'll say right now. This exact second.
For one, you're not going to convince me that Joe Burrow was having a better rookie year than what Baker Mayfield did, and we all saw just how much Baker has dropped off since his rookie year, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm playing by everyone else's rules. I'm at the point where I got excited about Baker's rookie year, and everyone told me, you can't get excited about a rookie year because teams are going to start to catch on to him. So why is it that teams won't catch up to Joe Burrow, but they were all going to catch up to Baker Mayfield? So I'm not convinced yet. I know by the way, if you listen to any of the sports radio talk around the country, people aren't drooling over Joe Burrow the way they are around here locally, which is fine because it's, obviously with where we're at, it's localized. He's only an hour to. Of course, the love for him is going to be more than most places. So I'm sticking with Baker. I don't care if I get heat for that. How many have we gone through, by the way?
We have gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. Okay. I have picked Baker Mayfield over 5 of the first 7 quarterbacks that we have gone through.
I have picked Baker 3.
Hater.
All right. AFC South. Tannehill or Baker?
Baker.
I'm going to roll with Tannehill.
I'm rolling with Baker only because I think that they're very even. I will be fair. Tannehill has looked better as of late, but I don't think that it is significantly enough better to where if the Browns release Baker Mayfield and Ryan Tannehill is available, the Browns aren't doing everything in their power to go get Ryan Tannehill. I think that they're too similar of quarterbacks for me to sit there and pick Tannehill over Baker. I'm sticking with Baker.
I would go with Tannehill.
Hater.
Phillip Rivers.
Baker.
We agree. Deshaun Watson.
Definitely Deshaun Watson, not even close. Deshaun Watson is actually having a Patrick Mahomes-esque type season, and he's getting no attention for it at all. I thought they made a mistake giving him that money coming in. I'm not going to. It's a horrible roster. I think it's a horrible roster because when you give all your money to your quarterback, this is what happens. This is why I'm always saying it's not that certain guys don't deserve it. I just think it's ludicrous to give your quarterback that much money. That's why with the Cowboys, I'm like, don't do it because he's very dependent on pieces around him. And if you put all your resources into that, you're not going to have as much help to go get help around him. we'll see just how good a front office Houston has now moving forward, because he's the guy. He is great, but you're going to have limited resources moving forward. But yeah, definitely Deshaun Watson over Baker, no question.
So with Jacksonville, I just put down Minshew because he started the season. I think we both agree we're going to go with Baker there.
Yeah, Baker.
Okay.
Easily. So how many? Hold up, I've lost count. See, I'm like losing my mind. So we're through 15, right?
Yeah.
All right. How many have you been keeping track of?
Hold on. I haven't been keeping track, but I can readjust. Let me go through these.
We're readjusting. Hold on. So we were through the first 8, right? Or through the first 8 or the first 10. That was through the AFC North. Okay.
All right, I got it. So
through the first 10, I had picked 7-3 Baker. So in the AFC South now, I picked Baker over Ryan Tannehill.
You picked Baker over Phillip Rivers. You picked Baker over Minshew.
Yep.
So you got 5-8.
So I got 8-3 right now, right?
Yep.
That doesn't add up, right? Does it?
Yeah, you got 5. You got 5 quarterbacks that you would take over Baker Mayfield over. What's that?
So we're butchering this segment, man. Like,
No, we're good. Bad. Don't worry about it.
So I'm resetting here. So the AFC East, I'm picking Baker over Tua, over Cam Newton, over Sam Darnold. That's 3-1. And the AFC North, I'm picking Big Ben over Baker. I am picking Baker over Lamar Jackson. I voiced why earlier. Don't get mad. And I'm picking Baker over Joe Burrow. And so I see more, because I don't think that there's enough that you could see from not even a full season from Joe Burrow to know that he's just going to continue to get better. Baker's rookie year was better than Joe Burrow's, and look what's happened since then. So, yeah, so right now with that, that's what, an 8. And then the Titans, I'm picking Baker over Tannehill.
Yeah.
I am picking Baker over Phillip Rivers. I am picking Baker over Jacksonville. And then, of course, I'm sticking with Deshaun Watson over there with Houston.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot, man. So that's what? 8 of the 11?
Yep.
Okay. So
9 of the 11.
Okay, that's for you. Okay, got it.
Yep. 9 of the 11.
So we are on to
the AFC West.
Patty Mahomes.
That's an easy one. Patrick Mahomes.
No, my bad. Patrick Mahomes. Don't want his mom mad at us. Here's a good one. Derek Carr.
Baker over Derek Carr. This reminds me of Ryan Tannehill. There's a lot of Baker Mayfield-esque quarterbacks in the league. Derek Carr. No one's a Derek Carr away from winning a Super Bowl. No one's a Ryan Tannehill away from winning a Super Bowl. I do believe teams could be a Deshaun Watson away from winning a Super Bowl. I believe that teams are definitely, Patrick Mahomes, duh. But no one, I put Tannehill, Baker, Carr, a lot of these guys in that same boat. So that's why I'm not going to get rid of Baker for one of those who are the same type of quarterback, who are capable on any given week, but can also blow up in your face on any given week. So I'm picking Baker over that situation there.
Okay, so we agree there. Drew Lock, Baker. Okay, we agree. Your boy, Herbert.
For right now, Baker, for the Sam being consistent, as much I think Justin Herbert looks fantastic. But again, it's the rookie rule for me. I'm not going to pick Baker over. I'm not going to pick a rookie over Baker right now, because we saw what happened with Baker.
I would go with Herbert.
With Herbert? Hater.
Yeah, there you go. I was waiting for that.
Okay. So now we are I've picked 10 of the 15 quarterbacks. I picked Baker over 10 of the 15 quarterbacks we've gone through already.
Hey, look at him moving on up.
All right, on to the NFC. On to the NFC side now. We'll start with the NFC least.
Daniel Jones.
Picking Baker. Daniel looked better, but I'm picking Baker Mayfield now.
You know, they've really been using him in his own read game. You know, he's their leading rusher.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to Daniel Jones. He's out here risking it all, man. So, but yeah, I would go with Baker as well. I'm going to say Alex Smith for the Washington football team. Obviously, they have Alex Smith. They have our guy, Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State. I think either one that you pick is going to be Baker.
So I'm picking Baker over Daniel Jones. I'm picking Baker over Washington. I'm picking Baker over Carson Wentz. And I'm picking Dak over Baker. Dak would make for me to pick a quarterback over Baker, that quarterback would have to come in and make Cleveland better. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe Ryan Tannehill makes the Browns better. I don't believe Derek Carr makes the Browns better. I don't believe that Carson Wentz, Daniel Jones, or whoever the hell that the Washington football team is rolling out on a given week, even Alex Smith makes them better. I do believe Dak Prescott would make them better. So I'm going to pick Dak over Baker.
Okay. NFC North. Aaron Rodgers.
Picking Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins.
I'm picking Baker Mayfield over Kirk Cousins.
You know how much I can't stand Kirk Cousins. So I'm going to pick Baker Mayfield because, like you, I think they're basically the same guy. So I'm going to go with the younger quarterback thinking he can get better. So I will go with Baker.
All right. By the way, if you're just tuning in, Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here. We're playing a little game called Baker or Taker. How many quarterbacks in the NFL would you pick Baker Mayfield over? We did not do our homework before this segment because we wanted to kind of be surprised by, I'm either going to be shocked because he's worse than what I thought, or I might find him better than what I thought. And I've picked Baker right now over 5, 10, 14 quarterbacks. I picked Baker over 14 quarterbacks right now. And I've picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I picked 7 quarterbacks over Baker to this point. So there's that. All right, keep on going.
All right. We are on to Chicago, so it is either Nick Foles or Mitchell Trubisky.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
Here's one for you because you brought this up middle of the season, asking about our guy Matthew Stafford up there in Detroit if he became available. Should the Browns go after him? I said no. You said yes. Then how do you feel today?
I'm picking again. Based on my philosophy of if I pick a quarterback over Baker Mayfield, that means that is me saying that I believe that the Browns would be better with this quarterback. I am picking Matthew Stafford over Baker Mayfield. I don't think Matthew Stafford's like the best quarterback in the world by any means, but I do believe you put Matthew Stafford with that offensive line, with that run game, with these receivers, the Cleveland Browns are instantly better. In fact,
who are you picking?
I'm picking Matthew Stafford. I'm picking Matthew Stafford over Baker Mayfield.
We disagree there. Okay, I will go with Baker. I'll go with Baker.
Stafford can actually throw the ball. Like Baker could throw the ball too, but like Stafford, like you know what you can get with him. Like a lot of Stafford's failures have come because of that organization and that team. Now the Browns are a joke of an organization, but at least they've been able to put out a roster that is capable of making the playoffs and maybe contending for a division. The Steelers are 11-0, and the caller said earlier one of the worst 11-0 teams out there. So my thing is like, it's strange that they're 11-0, and of course, for the Browns' luck, they're 11-0 when they probably shouldn't be 11-0. But it's besides the point.
I mean, Matthew Stafford had one of the best wide receivers all time, and they still went 0-16. So that's for me, that will never ever go away. That stench will never go away. I know the Lions are a bad organization. I know they had Barry Sanders, one of the best running backs of all time, and they messed that up. And somehow they messed up one of the best wide receivers of all time and go 0-16. But you know who was at the helm? Matthew Stafford. And what we found out from our lovely listener, Pam, is he plays a lot of games, so he's responsible for a lot of those losses as well. I will go with Baker Mayfield.
You said you're going with Baker Mayfield over Matthew Stafford. Yeah. Fair enough. All right, on to the next one.
Now, NFC South. This is very tough, extremely tough, because this is where you get into legendary status. You got two quarterbacks.
You got to decipher the now versus what they've done in the past.
You can't let what they did in the past cloud your judgment of today. And one of those guys that would do that would be Drew Brees. As great as Drew Brees was as a quarterback, we're talking about today. Would I take Drew Brees over Baker Mayfield today? I would say yes. Obviously, we would take Drew Brees when he was in his prime, but even today, I would take Drew Brees, even though I know how bad his arm is and how bad his arm gets shot. But guess what? He's resting right now with cracked ribs. So when he gets back to the playoffs, he's going to be well rested. He's going to be ready to ball out. So I'm going to go with Drew Brees.
I'm going with Drew Brees as well, because again, if I'm going to pick a quarterback over Baker Mayfield, that means that quarterback has to come in and make Cleveland instantly better. Drew Brees makes them instantly better. I'm picking Drew Brees over Baker Mayfield.
Brady?
I know this sounds stupid. Tom Brady's like, we keep talking about how dumb Bruce Arians is because he's not calling the plays that are going to help Tom Brady. But Tom Brady, I mean, we would be saying the same thing about Baker Mayfield. We said the same thing about last year with, losing my mind now, Jameis Winston. So, no, Tom Brady makes the Browns better. Tom Brady makes the Browns better. I got to go with Tom Brady. I just don't think I don't think he makes them better by as much. Like Tom Brady's better than Baker, yes, but based on my philosophy of how much better does that quarterback make Cleveland. I don't think he makes them significantly better other than just the leadership standpoint. I'm going to pick Tom Brady over Baker Mayfield. So
I would pick Tom Brady over Baker Mayfield as well. For the leadership quality and for what you said, if they were running the ball as they should be with Tampa Bay, Tom Brady's numbers would look a lot better than they do right now. And I honestly believe if Tom Brady was still on the New England Patriots, he'll be doing exactly what he's always done. They don't run a ton of option routes down there in Tampa Bay right now. This offense that they're running isn't for him. To be perfectly honest, I think Baker Mayfield will ball in this Tampa Bay offense. Big shots down the field, tall receivers, throwing jump balls and type of stuff. Like, that's the type of stuff he did at Oklahoma. I think Baker Mayfield would excel in the offense like that.
All right, so for the South, again, if you're just tuning in, Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here. Baker or Taker? Are you taking Baker? Or are you taking the other quarterback? How many quarterbacks in the NFL, starting quarterbacks, would you take Baker Mayfield over? We're going down the list of all NFL teams, division by division. So far, I will take Baker Mayfield over 3 of the AFC East teams. I will take Baker Mayfield over 3 of the AFC North teams, 3 of the AFC South teams, and 3 of the AFC West teams. I would take him over 3 of the NFC East teams. I would not pick him over Dak. Over the North, I would not pick him over Stafford or over Aaron Rodgers. So I would take him over 2 of the 4. With the South so far, I've picked Drew Brees and I picked Tom Brady over him. Atlanta Falcons, I'm picking Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, I was calling for Matt Ryan back at the trade deadline.
Also another one you called for.
If the Falcons are really looking to move him, which, again, financially, it's going to make it difficult. It wouldn't make sense for Cleveland. But Matt Ryan, right now I'm picking 3. I'm picking Baker over the Carolina Panthers quarterback situation right now, too. So I'm picking the 3 of the 4 quarterbacks from the NFC South over Baker Mayfield. So I'm only going to pick him over 1 of the 4.
I'm with you 100%. I would take Matty Ice over Baker Mayfield, and I will also take Baker Mayfield over Teddy Two Gloves.
All right, so Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash. On to the final one, Baker or Taker, the NFC West, Kevin. The Seattle Seahawks, I am clearly picking Russell Wilson over Baker Mayfield, no questions asked. Now, here's a good one for you, Russell Wilson, I'm assuming, too. That's an easy one.
Obviously.
Yeah. Jared Goff and the Rams. How much better would Jared Goff make the Cleveland Browns? I'm sticking with Baker Mayfield because I don't think that he makes them significantly better.
I think he would make them better. The things that they do on offense with the Rams is pretty much a lot what they do with the Browns. They're a heavy run team, and people look at the Rams and say they don't run the ball like that because they have a ton of wide receivers and big-time playmakers, but they really pass the ball inside the red zone. That's why its touchdown numbers are high, but they really run that stretch zone play a ton, kind of Denver Broncos-esque. I would take Jared Goff because I think he has bad games. He has terrible games. Like last week, he was horrible last week. Yep. But he also has those capability of having those big games like we saw when they went to the Super Bowl. He's led a team to the Super Bowl. He's got pedigree. I would go with Jared Goff over Baker.
Jared Goff has 100 more passing attempts on the season than Baker Mayfield, so that's why his numbers seem inflated more. If the Browns used Baker more, and we've seen Baker how well he's a much different player in warmer weather, I'm picking Baker over Jared Goff as far as that goes. So, all right, so that's Jared Goff. Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's interesting. It's easy to pick him over Baker, but I'm not willing to go there yet. I think that when you talk about quarterbacks who teams figure out, I don't know if that's what's going on with Lamar Jackson. I want to, when you look at Lamar Jackson, he's able to make plays with his arm and with his legs. And you've seen when he take his arm away, the legs aren't enough just to overcome everything. Kyler Murray right now is taking advantage with his arm and is capable with his legs. I need to see more from Kyler Murray. He's flashier than Baker, but I'm going to pick Baker over Kyler Murray.
I'm going with Baker's backup, Kyler Murray, his old college backup.
Okay, that's fine. And I'm picking Baker Mayfield over anything that's going over porn star Jimmy. I'm picking Baker Mayfield over Jimmy Garoppolo. So the only quarterback I would take over Baker Mayfield out of the NFC West would be Russell Wilson. So 3 of the 4 teams there. So I picked Baker Mayfield over 12 of the 16 quarterbacks in the AFC, and I picked Baker Mayfield over 9 of the NFC teams. So there's that. So how'd I do, Kev? How'd I do?
Not bad.
Where's he at?
I'm counting them up. Right now. 1, 2, 3.
So it's about
4,
15.
5, 6.
Oh man, I'm getting graded right here live on the air. So there's that. So Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Kev is giving me my grade right now. We played Baker or Taker. How many quarterbacks in the NFL would you take Baker Mayfield over? We went quarterback by quarterback. We did not do the homework before this. We just did this live on the air. I picked Baker Mayfield over 21 of the 32 quarterbacks. He is at number 11.
11.
So Baker Mayfield is fringe top. That's what I said earlier. I said Baker Mayfield to me is fringe top 10. I can't put him in my top 10, but he's fringe top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I picked him. I picked 10 other quarterbacks over Baker Mayfield. That's it. So there you go. He's double checking the math.
He's at 16 for me.
And that's about what you thought. So you're wrong. That's fine. I'm used to it. Holy moly. So,
that was fun, man.
It's about what we thought. Tyler Schroeder says, I'd take Keenum over Baker. Shocker.
Another backup over Baker.
And Shaw says, again, it's not about the team, quarterback to quarterback. But I make the rules. Not you, Shaw. I make you can't say it's not about the team. It's quarterback. No, maybe in the David Shaw show, you could do quarterback to quarterback. But in the Justin Kinner show with Kev Nash, I make up my own rules. I said, if I'm going to pick a quarterback over Baker Mayfield, that quarterback needs to come into Cleveland and make Cleveland instantly better. I don't believe that a lot of the quarterbacks in the NFL make Cleveland instantly better. I don't think Jared Goff makes the Browns instantly better. Oh, look at all the yards he has. He's thrown for double the amount of pass attempts that Baker Mayfield has. I would hope that he would have. And by the way, he's thrown for double the amount of passing attempts than Baker Mayfield has, and he only has, I think, just a hair under 1,000 extra passing yards. Baker Mayfield would have 1,000 more passing yards too if he threw the ball 400 times. It's like, you folks are the same people that brag about how many passing yards a quarterback has. You're the same ones that get mad in the NBA and say, well, he should average 30 points a game. He shoots the ball 40 times a game. How come that philosophy exists in the NBA, but in the NFL, it's just, nope, numbers are numbers. Numbers are numbers.
I'm not a numbers guy, man. I really like watching the game and seeing how they perform. Especially nowadays with fantasy football, there's a lot of empty stats. There's situations where teams are blown out and then they're forced to pass the ball a ton. So they rack up a ton of yards, but what do those yards actually mean? People talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and being one of the worst 11-0 teams, but a lot of these games, they're up early and the lack of a running game is the reason why they really can't grind the game out the way, a 4-minute offense. They end up punting a lot because the run game isn't there. But if you look at that Broncos game, that game was in the bag. It was never in doubt. I was never worried that they were going to lose that game, but the final score says, "Oh man, it was kind of close." Oh, was it? The game was a blowout, dude. It was over in the first half.
Shaw says, "No, he wouldn't. He can't hit the wide open receiver." Oh, good Lord! Again,
where's he at on your list, Shaw?
He said he's at number 21 on his list.
Damn!
You and him trying to out-hate one another.
No, 16 is right in the middle of the pack.
No. He's number 11. He's the 11th best quarterback in the NFL. And I was realistic. I didn't pick him. What's the most blasphemous quarterback that I picked Baker Mayfield over, in your opinion?
Let me see.
Lamar Jackson?
Probably Lamar.
Let me ask you, in all seriousness, how much better does Lamar make Cleveland right now? In all seriousness.
Oh, man, with the running game. Because, you got to think about it. The running game that the Ravens had last year, that's what the Browns have this year. They have the number one running game in the NFL.
Yeah, but they have the number one running game in the NFL without Lamar Jackson. The Ravens have the number one running game in the NFL because they have Lamar Jackson. And if you're going to put Lamar in the Browns offense because they have the running backs, well, then the whole point of having Lamar Jackson is, yes, he could throw the ball, but it's not the best part of his game. Right. The best part of his game is what he can do with his legs. Well, if you have two great running backs like the Browns do, why run your quarterback? It would be like the Urban Meyer JT Barrett effect. Stop letting your quarterback run the ball more than your running backs when you have great running backs. So that's why I would not pick Lamar over Baker Mayfield.
That would make their run game more potent. It's the one of the reasons that the running backs can get off is because somebody's always worried about Lamar Jackson. That's why they were talking about the only team that was been able to run the ball on the Pittsburgh Steelers this year has been the Baltimore Ravens. It's because they sell out on Lamar. They say, hey, you're not going to beat us because we know you can take it 80 yards. We'll give up a 10-yard run to your running back because we can catch him. But if you get in the open field, you're going to blow somebody's ACL with one of your juke moves. So we're going to focus on you. So I would think if you would put Lamar Jackson back there with a Nick Chubb in that offensive line, oh my goodness, you're looking at 3,000 yards rushing. You might get 3 1,000-yard rushers. Quarterback, both running backs.
But if the Browns got Lamar Jackson,
500 yards,
they would not have Kareem Hunt then if they had Lamar Jackson. And then at that point, any offense that chooses to run your quarterback more than your running back, that's dumb.
Why wouldn't they?
Because you wouldn't need 2 great running backs if you have a quarterback that you're going to be running out and putting
They drafted Dobbins.
Uh-huh. And how's that worked out?
They played solid. They got the Rona, man.
Yeah, stop. You know. So I'm curious, who was the most blasphemous quarterback that I picked Baker Mayfield over? Lamar Shelley says Baker would have 100 interceptions if he threw the ball more, going back to my point about Jared Goff. But so you're saying it's crazy that I picked Baker over Jared Goff because Baker, if he threw more, he would have more interceptions. Probably. That's like if you shoot the ball more, you have more chances to miss shots. And keep in mind, Jared Goff, he has the 5th most interceptions in the National Football League right now. So if you're using interceptions as why that would not make Baker better than Goff, that cancels out because Goff throws a lot of interceptions as well. Baker doesn't turn the ball over anymore. It doesn't turn the ball over anymore. Someone said, where'd it go? David Shaw said Kyler or Matt Stafford. Sean Boland on Facebook said Kyler Murray is the most blasphemous. That's fair. I was kind of on the fence on that one. How much better does Kyler Murray make the Browns right now?
I don't think he makes them that much better.
Better. He's more consistent passer as of right now. He's more versatile with his legs.
Yeah.
I think he makes them better. They're
significantly better. Like they're 8-3. So like
to make it better. Yeah. So that's why I'm like,
I don't know. I would probably say the Jared Goff or. Well, no, you picked Stafford over Baker.
I picked Stafford over Baker. Yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking there. So yeah, for me it would be Jared Goff or Lamar.
All right. I tell you what. Enough of us. 457-946. We'll be back in a moment. The Matthew Stafford thing, is that crazy? I mean, Matthew Stafford makes the Browns way better.
No, he doesn't.
Matthew Stafford makes the Browns way better than Lamar Jackson would make the Cleveland Browns. That sounds crazy, I know, but I firmly believe that. Thumbs up, thumbs down, middle finger, whatever finger you want to give me. We'll discuss next. 457-9464. We'll be back in a moment.
Merry Christmas. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 46. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a low around 30. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a high near 40. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
OHMB 803-342, NMLS 304138. Do you need help with a loan to purchase or refinance your home? Have you applied for a home loan and been told you do not qualify for a loan? Are you a first-time buyer and have questions regarding the home buying process? Are you considering refinancing your existing home? Do you live in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Florida, or South Carolina? If you answered yes to any of the above questions, you need to call Forrest Ferris at 3rd Street Financial Home Loans at 513-320-5911, who is available 7 days a week to help you. We're 3rd Street Financial residential home loans. And Forrest Ferris specializes in approving home loans banks and other lenders cannot or will not approve. Some of our clients might have low credit scores, been through a divorce, want to buy a home for sale by owner, are in a land contract, or dealing with probate or estate homes. Call Forrest now for a free estimate. 513-320-5911. That's 513-320-5911. Offer valid for purchase or refinancing of homes located in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Florida, and South Carolina only. Minimum loan amount $60,000. Limitations and restrictions apply.
Friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks. $29.99 each, you 4 pounds of friggin' chicken chunks. You get the 4 sauces too. You get the 4 sauces too. 4 sauces too. 4 sauces too. 4 sauces too. Friggin' chicken chunks.
Ring in the season with 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks. Buy a $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. The ho home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is Frickers.
Friggin' chicken chunks, 4 sauces too. Friggin' chicken chunks, 4 friggin' pounds, friggin' chicken chunks.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
At Meadowbrook at Clayton, our state-of-the-art golf simulators are ready for play. Book your tee times now and get our special rate of $15 per half hour for up to 4 people per simulator. Here's your chance to play some of the great golf courses around the world, including Kiowa Island, Harbor Town, and Spain's Valderrama. Weekday and weekend hours are available, and safe prepackaged snacks and drinks are only steps away. Go online to meadowbrookatclayton.com for details. Everyone is welcome, so call and reserve your times now.
If you've had a car accident, the first call should be to Blake Maisland.
That's right. With the sun going down a little earlier, with the leaves on the road, with the rain, it just lends itself to more injuries. You just have to remember, you only need one number, and that's the number 4. We are here for you 24 hours a day.
444-4444 or wantmore.com. Your organization will give you an absolute free evaluation.
And we work the case for you for free all the way through, unless we win.
You have rooted yourself in Dayton.
Sure. Well, we all are in Dayton together. And when things happen, everybody needs to come together. And everybody has something to offer. I'm lucky enough that I went through law school. Everyone in our own firm brings a talent, and we make sure that whatever's necessary for your case to win it, that's what we do.
444-4444 or online at wantmore.com. Attorney Blake Maisland. He's there to help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Discover and enjoy your favorite music, news, and talk radio from live stations across the country. Listen anywhere on all mobile and home devices with the radio.com app.
D-Max, home of the award-winning Duramax diesel engine, is hiring production jobs. Come to the D-Max plant for a drive-through job fair happening today at the plant on Dryden Road from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Be a part of the winning Duramax team.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Looking for the perfect present? Then head to the perfect place. Stop by your neighborhood Ace and find the best gifts from brands like Steel, Eagle, and Milwaukee, or Traeger, Weber, and Yeti. And to help make sure your gifts are under your tree on time, you can shop in-store, online, or on the Ace app. Pick up in-store, curbside, or get them delivered. Get amazing deals on the best gifts when you wrap it in red at Ace and participating stores.
I'm Dr. Andrea Russo, a cardiologist. Maybe you're waiting to talk to your doctor right now. But if you're having an irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait. This could be a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today with professional counseling done securely online. Visit betterhelp.com/feelhappy and get 15% off your first month.
Let it snow. Dayton Flyers basketball fans, don't miss the Talking Out Loud pregame show hosted by Sully this Saturday at 11 a.m. live from Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. The place to cheer on your Flyers. Arrive early, wear red, and stay loud. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So someone messaged in during the break. It was the Ron. Ron on Facebook says that he would take Jameis Winston over Hayfield. I'm not against that. Like, if he was the starting quarterback right now, like, Jameis moved that damn ball up and down the field like he was nothing. Like, Jameis, like, it's I can't wait for when he gets that next opportunity. Hopefully there's a coach out there. Like, what Jameis needs is what Baker got. Like, Jameis needs that Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
Jameis needs that coach that is going to be able to put you in position to succeed. Like, I feel like Bruce Arians, I mean, he knew what the weaknesses of Jameis Winston were, and rather than trying to kind of control it a little bit, he just kept throwing it. Like, that's like getting mad at the guy who keeps missing shots. Well, if the coach is going to let you keep shooting, I don't know about you. If the coach lets me shoot, I'm going to keep shooting.
Yeah.
Well, you've missed 10 straight. I'm going to miss 20 straight if you keep letting me shoot. I'm fine with that. I'm not going to pick Jameis over Baker, but if Jameis gets the right coach, it would be interesting to see. If I want him to get another shot. I think Jameis can be a very, very good.
Baker
He wins an MVP
17 now.
He wins an MVP last year if he cuts those interceptions in half, or it would be Lamar and Jameis Winston 1A, 1B, right?
What was their record last year?
7 wins, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. Ron, let's see how big of a Bucs fan he is. 7 wins, I think, for the Bucs last season.
I'm looking right now.
So either way, but no, I would still
7-9 last year.
So there's that. Lamar Shelley says Baker has thrown 42 interceptions in 3 seasons. That is terrible. Well, again, I'm talking about right now with what we've seen. The fact that Baker, who was an interception machine last season for the same reasons that Jameis was, because you had a coach that just let you continue to make mistake after mistake instead of a coach that knows how to coach a team and coach a player to his strengths. We've seen that Baker could play in that system. You can win with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's going to win you games. So, I mean, I get that's a lot of interceptions for the career, but to sit there and ignore the turnaround that Baker Mayfield has had. I mean, what 8-3 is that the record? So he's had 7 interceptions in 11 games, and it's been a week since he's thrown an interception.
All right, check this out. So last year, Tampa Bay with Jameis Winston at the helm with his 30-30 touchdowns and interceptions went 7-9. Currently, Tampa Bay is 7-5. So here's the remainder of the schedule. They have this week the Vikings coming to town. Then they go on the road to Atlanta. Then they go up to Detroit, and then they finish with Atlanta at home. I mean, shoot. Looking at that record, they should win those games, right?
Who?
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they should. But we've also seen them play down to their opponents like they did with the Giants a few weeks ago.
What's the toughest game left on their schedule?
For the Giants, read those off again.
Vikings, Falcons, Lions, Falcons.
Falcons. Twice. I mean, the fact that they got the Falcons, I mean, I think that's a very tough schedule. The Vikings have played way better than when they started. They were doing our top 5, bottom 5. The Vikings were regularly in your bottom 5.
Yeah.
They've played much better football over this last month. So
Raheem Morris is trying to keep that job.
That's a tough one coming up this weekend. And then you have 2 with the Falcons that are left. The Falcons aren't the best in the NFL by any means. But again, that's a veteran-led group. And you have Matt Ryan. And we've seen that there's flaws with the Bucs. I'm not saying they're going 3. They're not going to go 1-4 to close out the season. But there's not a guaranteed win on the schedule moving forward.
Oh, no, the Lions.
The Lions, I guess. So there's one guarantee. So there's only one guaranteed win. I'm sorry, but the rest there's no easy games outside of the Lions in the final month. When the reason that's a problem is because you're actually battling it out with the Bucs for that division. So you're not or with the Saints. So who knows?
Yeah.
Got this on Facebook. Tyler Allison on Facebook says, "You seriously don't think Kyler Murray makes the Browns better? Come on, defense dealing with his running." With Chubb and Hunt. The defense is not dealing, by the way. If you think that the Browns defense is good, that's not true. Their defense is not good. You brought up a good point yesterday about when we're talking about Baker's low numbers, how many times in those low numbers in those games that have been bad the last month, the opposing quarterback never outshined Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Like, Derek Carr got the win that day, so he's going to get the rub as far as Derek Carr looked just as bad as Baker Mayfield in that heavy wind, blistering cold weather. I mean, it was horrible weather. Derek Carr didn't look better than Baker Mayfield that day, right? So, and think about the last couple of weeks. How many quarterbacks have looked better than Baker Mayfield? So it's not like, well, the opposing quarterback had no problem throwing the ball in this weather and Baker couldn't do it. It was the same weather pattern for both quarterbacks. And, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, they're up against it, though. I think this week the Browns are really up against it, especially on the defensive end. Obviously, you got Miles returning. You got Myles Garrett returning and going up against a guy that was on the practice squad, a left tackle for Tennessee. So that's the turning point. You're expecting Myles Garrett to bounce back from missing a couple games due to COVID and cause havoc, get a strip sack or two. But I really just don't think the Browns secondary is going to be able to hold up against A.J. Brown because Denzel Ward's not there. Denzel Ward is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. But the thing about Denzel Ward, he's always hurt. Denzel Ward either has a concussion or his hamstring is hurting. This week is his knee. Like, he's always banged up. Always banged up. But when he's out there, he balls. But it's a matter of getting him on the field. And without him on the field, without him being able to follow A.J. Brown around, I really think they're going to kind of have their way in the passing game versus the Browns.
Earlier, I said, how much better does Kyler Murray make the Browns? I don't think he makes them. David Shaw says Kyler makes them competitive against the Steelers. Not that last Steelers matchup. That last Steelers matchup, that wasn't a Baker Mayfield problem, by the way. That was an offensive line problem. I mean, Baker didn't help by any means, but there wasn't a quarterback in the NFL that was going to combat the defensive pass rush that the Steelers had rolling that day. Like, the Browns' offensive line played their worst game of the season that day against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, no, I disagree. Kyler Murray would not have made them more competitive that day against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll find out here in a few weeks if the Steelers are still playing for something. That offense, you watch that offensive line, the Steelers overpowered them.
It was dominant effort, man. You know, Cameron Hayward dominated. Alua dominated up front. And that was before you even got to Bud Dupree or TJ Watt and Devin Bush. You know what I'm saying? So when you're down 3, when they run a 3-4 defense, it's dominating up front before you get to your star linebackers and then your roamer safety back there with Minka Fitzpatrick, you're in trouble. You're in trouble if you're dominating your forefront with 3 guys.
What else we got here? Lamar Shelley says Burrow is better than Baker. I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm sorry, I'm not. Because Baker in his rookie year looked just as good as Burrow did in his. And look how far Baker has fallen since then. So we don't know the future of who Joe Burrow is going to be. Because there wasn't even a hater out there that thought Baker Mayfield was going to regress the way he did. And if you did think that, that's just because you hated him and it wasn't based on anything that you actually knew. Because there was no reason to assume that Baker was all of a sudden just going to become a bad quarterback. Now, sure, there were those out there that said, well, the film's out on him. Okay, well, the film's out on Joe Burrow too. So how come that same film that was out on Baker doesn't exist for Joe Burrow? Like, we got to stop with these homeristic takes that just because it's Joe Burrow, that all of a sudden he won't regress like Baker did. I need to see what Burrow does next season, the year after that, before I'm going to sit there and say he's better than Baker Mayfield, because Baker Mayfield in year 1 is better than Baker Mayfield right now. So it's easy to say that. I'm not going there yet. Doug Toby says, Baker, are you deflecting Marshall? No, I'm not deflecting at all. By the way, this goes back to my whole point, Kev, about why I'm more in position to talk about Wright State and UD more than anyone else in this town, because I actually watch and follow both teams, to where the Homer UD fans that only follow you, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong being a Homer UD fan. I'm just saying, you can't sit there and pretend that you know it all about the other program, the program that you say you can't stand, that you also don't watch, but yet you seem to know everything about. Last night, Kev, you know how many days of practice Wright State had to prepare for Marshall?
No.
1.
Yeah.
And it was a walkthrough. It wasn't even a full day on practice. You know how many players tested positive for Wright State?
0.
7.
Oh.
7.
Rona.
Or 6. Either way, 6.
Enough.
No practices in 2 weeks. They get back. They had 1 day out on the floor. And then you have Marshall, who people are like, oh, I bet you feel dumb for saying that Wright State could have beat UD. I said, first of all, the way that UD played that night, yes, I believe Wright State is good enough to beat UD the way that they played that night. I'm not saying that Wright State's better than UD. I just said basically, but Kev, that's what we do. We were making our evaluation based on what we saw that night. That night, what I saw that night from UD, that this Wright State team could have beat that UD team that night. Who knows how UD is going to look tomorrow against SMU? Super pumped about that game, by the way. Wright State came out, adrenaline firing. Trey Calvin, by the way, what I tell you about Trey Calvin. Don't worry about the point guard. That kid's a beast. All right. Wright State came out when the adrenaline was carrying them. Look how much better they looked than Marshall. When they had their 2 near 7-footers on the floor at the same time, Marshall couldn't stop Wright State. And then all of a sudden the legs disappear. And I don't care who you are. I don't care. There's not a basketball team out there that could only have one practice in 2 weeks to prepare for an opponent and go out there and play 40 minutes of perfect basketball. It wasn't going to happen. People are like, oh, you're making an excuse. No, that's just common sense.
And that's big common sense. And that's something I was talking about yesterday. Wind. Like, you going up against a team that has had practice and has got a game underneath their belt. Wright State hadn't had a game yet. And also, nobody's expecting Jalen Hall to go 0 for 5. He's one of the best players on the team. He's one of the best players in the conference. Nobody's expecting him to go 0 for 5 again this season. We're expecting him to be scoring around 12 to 16 points a game. So you plug in his 12 to 16 points that he's supposed to get, Wright State can win that game. They'll be right there.
So, and then, people keep bringing up the UD game to me all night last night. Oh, they were bringing up how UD this, UD that. And I said, first of all, Wright State, it's also – it's less forgiving too whenever you have to have a team that's I think 70. They're 70 points higher in the KenPom than the opponent that UD had this past week. So, I think that it makes sense as to why Wright State was challenged more than UD was in the first night. You're playing a team ranked in the 160s in the KenPom. Wright State had someone in the 90s. So there's that. Wright State's hovering around 114.
Go Raiders.
So, Doug, had nothing to do with anything. They lost the game. They only had one practice for. Is what it is. Now they lose a game like that again moving forward. That's completely different. Completely different. Lamar Shelley says college basketball is struggling for star power right now. We're literally 5 days into the season, and teams have had more cancellations than games played. I think that, yes, it's going to be tough. I don't know who the Zion is this year. I don't know who the Obi Toppin is this year. Luka Garza out of Iowa, but that's not really star power. That's just name you recognize the name.
30 in the first half.
But Luka Garza is not a household name, but he's a really good basketball. So, Lamar, I'll give you that. Yeah, they're struggling for star power right now, but it's tough to get rolling if you're college basketball.
People aren't even watching college basketball yet. The masses aren't watching college basketball yet. People here are watching UD. Yep. You and I are watching UD and Wright State, but the masses aren't watching college basketball right now. Everybody's worried about trying to get Ohio State into the college football playoff and watching, what's happening with the Bengals and Browns. Nobody's worried about college basketball right now. Wait till January, then people will start tuning in. By then, the big names will be on there, the draft boards will be out there and everything like that. You'll find your superstars by the time college basketball really counts.
Nothing's going on with the Bengals, by the way.
Oh, gosh.
I'm just saying.
Hater.
Yeah, exactly. That's me. That's what's on my business card. So tomorrow afternoon, 3-0 SMU. We've heard nothing about this game being canceled. It looks like it's on. We got the game packet earlier today from UD. Dayton welcoming in SMU tomorrow. 1-0 Flyers, 3-0 SMU. A huge opportunity here for the Dayton Flyers. This is one of the premier games on their non-conference schedule. I'm pumped that they're getting this in. We're going to be tomorrow at Timothy's Bar and Grill at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Sully, the Talking Out Loud pregame shows hosted by Sully. Tomorrow we will be live. Make sure you follow along on Facebook. Search ESPN Dayton's Facebook page as well as the Justin Kinner Show's Facebook page. We're going to be carrying the show on the Facebook pages and YouTube throughout the whole entire afternoon, right up until close to tip-off, which is going to be at 2 o'clock. Dayton Flyers, SMU tomorrow at 2 o'clock to tip-off, and we'll be live out at Timothy's Bar and Grill starting tomorrow at 11 a.m. Have a great night, everybody. We'll do this again on Monday, and until Monday, it's been the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.